Do you ever feel like your brain is just constantly buzzing? Pulled in 100 different directions by notifications, emails, just the sheer overwhelming noise of our digital world? Like you're
Mm.
perpetually scattered and you're truly craving that elusive state where you can actually just focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a universal struggle, isn't it? In our hyper-connected lives, we kind of have to ask, is true sustained concentration still even possible? Or maybe more importantly, is it still valuable?
Oh, it's not just possible, but I think it's becoming one of the most powerful, uh, really sought after skills in today's economy.
A superpower, you say? I'm intrigued because for many, myself included, it often feels like, well, an impossible dream in our noisy world. How do we even begin to cultivate that?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Exactly. So today we are taking a deep dive into deep work, this concept brilliantly championed by Cal Newport, the Georgetown professor and author. We've pulled insights from a whole stack of Goodreads reviews and an excellent actionable guide to his work to bring you the best of it.
Right. And our mission today isn't just to, summarize his ideas. It's to really unpack exactly what deep work is, explore why it's becoming increasingly rare and incredibly valuable
Hmm.
in our modern economy, and then arm you with the practical strategies Newport outlines.
Yeah.
And crucially, we'll also make sure to look at the full spectrum of perspectives on his approach,
Yeah, that's important.
including both the glowing endorsements and, some of the really pointed criticisms.
This isn't just about finding a new productivity hack, this is about understanding how to reclaim your attention, how to master complex information, and potentially achieve some pretty extraordinary results. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
Let's start with Newport's core definition because it's so precise. He essentially defines deep work as professional activity performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit.
Right.
These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. It's about really leaning into that mental effort where you are truly working your brain.
And this is crucial because it stands in stark contrast to what he calls shallow work. Now, think of shallow work as those non-cognitively demanding logistical-style tasks, often performed while distracted. You know the type?
Oh, yeah. Email checking?
Exactly. These efforts tend to not create new value in the world and are easy to replicate. Understanding this distinction is just fundamental. It helps you see where you're actually creating genuine value versus just, well, staying busy.
Which we all fall into sometimes.
Absolutely. All the time.
That makes perfect sense. It's the difference between, say, writing a groundbreaking research paper that really changes a field and endlessly sorting your inbox or jumping on another quick, unplanned call.
Hmm.
But why is this distinction so incredibly important right now in today's economy? Why is deep work being called a superpower? What's changed that makes it so valuable?
Well, it's because, as Newport so powerfully states, the ability to perform deep work is increasingly rare at exactly the same time it is becoming increasingly valuable.
Okay.
Rare and valuable. Think about it. Our economy rewards two things: the ability to master complicated information quickly, and the ability to produce at an elite level, in terms of quality and speed.
Right.
If you can master deep work, you gain a significant advantage in both. You could quickly master new skills, which is essential as industries constantly evolve.
Sure.
You can produce better, higher quality results in less time. And importantly, it provides that profound sense of true fulfillment that comes from craftsmanship, from genuinely excelling at something challenging.
That feeling of accomplishment.
Exactly. Excellence, in this view, isn't achieved by just scratching the surface. It's built through focused, demanding effort.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more, because deep work isn't really a one-size-fits-all endeavor, is it? Newport actually outlines 4 different philosophies for scheduling it, recognizing that different lives and different types of work, well, they require varied approaches.
Exactly. And these philosophies aren't rigid rules. They're more like frameworks to help you integrate deep work into your life in a way that truly aligns with your circumstances. First, there's the monastic philosophy. Think of it as the deep hermit approach.
Okay, hermit mode.
Yeah, pretty much. It's for those rare individuals who can dedicate almost all their waking hours to one monumental task, completely minimizing all distractions. It offers high reward, incredible focus, almost no context switching, but honestly, it's often more of an ideal than a reality for most of us, right?
Definitely.
Carl Jung, for example, famously built a stone tower in the woods specifically to focus his mind on his work, free from the world's demands. Now that is dedication.
Wow. A stone tower. Okay, that sounds incredibly intense. But what if you can't just, drop off the map like Jung or retreat to a private tower? What are the other options?
Right, Newport offers other options for sure. For instance, the bimodal philosophy. This allows for significant deep work periods while still maintaining other activities in your life.
Oh,
You might dedicate certain weeks or months primarily to deep work, interspersed with your regular activities. It requires flexibility but doesn't demand total isolation.
so chunks of time rather than a continuous monastic state, that feels a bit more accessible.
Absolutely. Then there's the rhythmic philosophy, which is ideal for those with more static schedules. You block off several hours every day, consistently, to get into a rhythm.
Like a habit.
Exactly.
Hmm.
A reviewer mentioned committing to waking up early to get their deep work in before the day's inevitable distractions began, making it a daily habit, almost like a workout for their brain. It's about consistency over the intensity of duration.
I can see how that rhythm could be powerful, almost like building a daily muscle. Okay, and for those who have anything but a static schedule, like total chaos.
That's where the journalistic philosophy comes in. It's designed for individuals who are constantly on the move, with little regularity to their days. This method demands extreme vigilance, fitting in maybe 30 minutes to an hour or two of deep work whenever and wherever possible.
Wow, that sounds tough.
It is. It's definitely not for beginners, as it requires incredible discipline to constantly seek out and seize those moments. Walter Isaacson, for instance, reportedly wrote his acclaimed biographies by slotting in focused writing sessions around his demanding job as the New York Times lead editor.
No kidding.
Yeah, he had to be a master of opportunistic focus.
That's a fascinating range of approaches. So, for you, the listener, how might you begin to choose the best philosophy for your own life and work? How do you figure out which one fits you without feeling, overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's key. It really comes down to your job demands and your personal flexibility. Experimentation is important here. Start by honestly understanding your schedule's natural ebb and flow. Can you carve out a few consistent hours daily? Or do you need to be more opportunistic and flexible? And remember, practicing deep work is like training a muscle.
Right.
It requires intention and a structured routine, no matter which philosophy you ultimately land on.
Okay, so setting up that routine is crucial.
Definitely. When you're building your deep work routine, think of it almost like setting up a personal fortress for your mind. You need to consider a few key elements.
A fortress, I like that.
First, location. Where will you perform this deep work? Choose a distraction-free, consistent space. If a dedicated room isn't possible, even noise-canceling headphones can signal to your brain, okay, it's time to focus. Consistency really helps you get into that deep work mode more quickly.
So it's not just what you do, but where you do it. That makes sense. What about how long? Can you just dive in for hours?
Good question.
Uh-huh.
Second, duration. Decide beforehand how long you'll focus, and definitely start small, say 15 or 30 minutes, then gradually increase as your focus improves. Don't expect to jump into 4-hour sessions on day one.
Right, build the muscle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Third, structure. Define explicit rules for your session. Will your phone be off? Completely off?
Mm-hmm.
What about internet use? Are you allowing it? Can you take snack breaks? How will you measure success for that particular session?
Mm-hmm.
Be clear about these boundaries before you start. And finally, requirements. Have everything you need ready eating the solidly. Your specific music, your favorite beverage, the necessary software. Don't let small needs break your concentration once you've entered that deep state.
Got it. Prepare the fortress. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because sometimes to break free from our ingrained habits, we need more than just small tweaks. Newport calls for something quite radical here, something he terms a grand gesture.
Ah, yes, the grand gesture.
And it really makes you think about how committed you are to your work.
It does. A grand gesture basically involves leveraging a significant change to your normal environment, often with a considerable investment of effort or even money, specifically to support a deep work task.
Okay.
The idea is to increase the perceived importance of that task. For example, if you have a crucial project, you might ask your manager to let you work from home for a week, or maybe dedicate an entire day writing in the library instead of your usual office.
Things outside the norm.
Exactly. Bill Gates is famous for his Think Weeks, where he retreats alone to a cottage for 2 weeks, twice a year, just to read and think about Microsoft's future.
Wow.
And there's also that fascinating anecdote of a social media pioneer who bought a round-trip business class ticket to Tokyo simply to write a book free from distraction during the long flights.
Just for the flight time. That's commitment.
It really is. This approach harnesses the power of novelty and quiet to signal to your brain, okay, this work is really important and deserves your full, undivided attention.
So radical shifts for radical focus. But often the biggest distractions aren't these grand, obvious things, are they? They're kind of insidious, lurking right in our pockets, constantly vying for our attention.
Mm-hmm. The digital noise.
Which brings us to Newport's most provocative claim. His suggestion that most serious professionals should quit social media. Now, this isn't without debate, right? Some reviewers pointed out how social media can be absolutely vital for small businesses or brand building. What's his reasoning here?
That's a really valid point. And Newport addresses this with what he calls the craftsman approach to tool selection as an alternative to the common any benefit approach.
Okay, craftsman versus any benefit. What's the difference?
Well, the any benefit approach basically says you should use a tool if it offers any possible benefit, however small.
Which sounds reasonable on the surface.
It does, but it leads to tool overload. The craftsman approach is far more stringent. It demands you first identify your core professional and personal goals, then list maybe the 2-3 key activities required to achieve those goals. Only then do you adopt tools whose positive impacts substantially outweigh their negative impacts on those specific activities.
Substantially outweigh. That's the key.
Exactly. If a tool doesn't meet that high bar, considering its costs and time and attention, you get rid of it.
That's a powerful filter. Instead of just asking, is this useful? It's asking, is this substantially beneficial for my most important goals, despite its downsides?
Precisely. And this discerning approach also means radically scheduling your internet use. You decide in advance exactly when you'll go online, and then avoid it entirely outside those times. The goal is to make offline your default state.
Offline by default. That's a shift.
It is. Newport even suggests trying a 30-day social media ban. Just quit cold turkey for a month, after which you ask yourself 2 critical questions. Would the last 30 days been notably better if I had been able to use this service? And did people care that I wasn't using this service?
Interesting questions.
You might be genuinely surprised by the answers. You might find that many services aren't as central as you initially believed, and your absence often goes completely unnoticed.
That's food for thought. So what does this all mean for the daily grind? You know, when there's so much shallow work, so many logistical tasks that just have to get done, how do we practically make room for deep work without letting everything else fall apart?
Yeah, that's the reality. It requires being very, very intentional. One key method is methodical scheduling. Newport actually recommends scheduling every minute of your day using time blocking,
Every minute. Wow.
even for breaks and meals. This forces you to think deliberately about how you spend your time and naturally helps you batch similar shallow tasks together. So if you have 5 emails to send and 2 calls to make, don't let them interrupt your deep work. Block out a single dedicated period for them, maybe after a focused session.
Time blocking everything, even lunch. That takes a lot of discipline, but I can definitely see how it creates a clear container for deep work. Prevents the shallow stuff from creeping in.
It absolutely does. Another crucial practice is implementing a daily cutoff and shutdown ritual. Set a hard stop for your workday. Then perform a brief ritual, maybe reviewing your to-do list, organizing tasks for the next day, explicitly closing your laptop, something to signal to your brain that work is truly over.
Like flipping a switch.
Exactly. This reduces stress, prevents work from spilling into your personal life, and allows your mind to genuinely recharge. And finally, it's really important to understand the 4-hour limit. Newport suggests, based on research and observation, an upper limit of around 4 hours of legitimate deep work per day.
Only 4 hours.
Of real, intense, deep work. After this, our ability to direct focused attention significantly diminishes. This isn't a limitation to feel bad about, it's an important insight. It highlights the necessity of downtime, and that quality often trumps quantity when it comes to intense cognitive effort. You can't just keep pushing it for 10 hours straight and expect quality results.
That's actually reassuring in a way. Knowing there's a natural limit, it makes those 4 hours even more precious. Okay, so beyond just managing your schedule and digital tools, are there ways we can actively enhance our ability to focus, like train our minds?
Absolutely, it's like a mental workout. One technique he champions is productive meditation.
Productive meditation, what's that?
This involves taking a period where you're physically occupied, but not mentally think, walking, jogging, showering, maybe folding laundry, and dedicating your attention to a single, well-defined professional problem.
Okay.
It trains your mind to concentrate while ignoring distractions. It's almost like active problem solving without the usual input of a keyboard or screen. You're just thinking deeply.
So instead of letting your mind wander aimlessly during a walk, You're consciously directing it to a tough problem. I like that. It's kind of multitasking, but for your brain, not your tasks.
Precisely. Another powerful strategy, though maybe counterintuitive, is to embrace boredom.
Embrace boredom. That sounds boring.
Well, in our constantly stimulated world, we instinctively reach for our phones at the first hint of downtime. Right.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, me too. Actively resist this urge. Allowing your mind to be unstimulated helps it relax, wander productively, and often generates truly creative solutions and personal insights. If you can't tolerate being bored for even a few minutes, your mind has likely been conditioned for constant distraction. And that's something we need to gently push back against.
Oh, that's such a tough one for me. My hand just instinctively reaches for my phone, even in a short elevator ride. It really highlights how deep that conditioning for distraction goes.
It's a common challenge. And surprisingly, practice memory games can significantly boost your focus.
Memory games, like concentration.
Yeah, or things like memorizing a deck of cards, a poem, or a list of foreign words. These engagements improve your general ability to concentrate because the intense focus required for memorization strengthens your attention centers. This makes it easier to direct that focus towards important work tasks later. It's almost like doing bicep curls for your brain.
That's a fascinating and practical tip. Bicep curls for the brain, I like it. Now, we've talked a lot about the benefits and strategies, but while many reviewers found deep work to be genuinely life-changing, it also drew some significant criticism. It's really important we consider these different angles for a truly balanced view because, no book is perfect for everyone.
Absolutely, and these critiques are incredibly insightful and worth discussing. For instance, many reviewers pointed out issues of privilege and applicability.
Okay, what did they mean by that?
They felt the advice was heavily geared towards academics, freelancers, or specialists, basically, people with significant autonomy over their schedules, and less applicable, perhaps, to managers, service professionals, or those in jobs requiring constant connectivity.
Right, where you can't just turn off email for 4 hours.
Exactly. Critics noted a perceived academic tech bro privilege, arguing that Newport didn't adequately acknowledge structural inequalities or the realities of many workplaces where you simply can't control your schedule in the way he suggests.
That point about privilege really resonates, doesn't it? It makes you wonder if deep work is truly universal, or if it's maybe best suited for a specific type of professional or individual circumstance.
Exactly. That's a fair question. Then there were criticisms about repetitiveness and length. Several reviewers suggested that the core ideas, while valuable, could have been conveyed in a much shorter book, maybe even, a well-structured long blog post.
Okay, felt a bit padded.
Some thought so. Some also felt there was a lack of novelty, arguing that the central ideas weren't entirely new, drawing parallels to earlier works on productivity and focus, like maybe David Allen's stuff.
So it's not necessarily a silver bullet, and perhaps built on existing ideas, but maybe reframed for our current distraction crisis.
Precisely. That's a good way to put it. Another point of contention was overselling success. Some reviewers felt the book sometimes oversold deep work as a direct, almost guaranteed path to Bill Gates-level success,
Right.
potentially overlooking crucial factors like natural intelligence, timing, external support networks, or just sheer luck that play a role in achieving such extraordinary outcomes.
It's not the only factor.
No. And finally, there was a noted lack of diversity in the examples used. Reviewers pointed out a strong emphasis on male figures, particularly white men, with very few women represented.
That's important feedback. These critiques are so valuable because they challenge us to apply the book's ideas thoughtfully, don't they? The key here isn't really to endorse or reject these viewpoints outright, but to understand that the book sparked diverse reactions. Its core message can be interpreted and applied in many ways, depending on your individual circumstances and priorities.
That's the crucial takeaway, I think. Some reviewers went even further, questioning the book's underlying achieverist mindset and its almost singular focus on, capitalistic metrics of professional success.
Achieverist mindset. Explain that a bit.
They raised concerns about the implicit suggestion, perhaps, of sacrificing deep relationships or broader critical thinking for the sake of pure career advancement. Some even viewed things like productive meditation as a form of spiritual capitalism, turning even our quiet, contemplative moments into just another productivity tool.
Wow, spiritual capitalism. That's a heavy critique. But it raises a really important question for you, the listener. How might the powerful principles of deep work be applied not just to work, but maybe to foster deeper relationships, personal growth, or even service to others, rather than solely professional advancement?
Exactly. It broadens the application.
It really makes you think about your ultimate goals beyond just the next promotion or project deadline. Okay, we've covered a lot today, taking a really deep dive into Cal Newport's deep work. We've explored its definition that professional activity performed in distraction-free concentration that pushes your cognitive capabilities
To the limit.
to their limit and highlighted its immense value in our increasingly distracted economy.
And we've walked through the practical strategies Newport proposes, from choosing a deep work philosophy that fits your life, monastic, bimodal, rhythmic, journalistic,
Right.
to building a routine, executing a grand gesture for big projects, and diligently eliminating digital distractions. We also discussed how to enhance your focus through practices like productive meditation and even embracing boredom.
But importantly, we also examine the nuances and criticisms, reminding ourselves and you that no single approach is universally applicable. We should apply these ideas thoughtfully to our own lives, adapting them to our unique situations.
The ability to focus intensely is truly a skill you can cultivate, and it's arguably one of the most important ones of the modern age. As one reviewer put it so well, it's not about being constantly on, but about being intentionally focused.
Intentionally focused. I like that.
So what one actionable step will you take this week to begin cultivating your deep work practice? Perhaps it's scheduling just one dedicated block of time, trying productive meditation during your commute, or maybe making a conscious plan for how you'll use or perhaps not use social media.
Just one small step. In a world that relentlessly demands your scattered attention, what does it truly mean to own your focus? And what extraordinary impact could you create if you truly mastered it?
Something to think about.
Definitely something to mull over until our next deep dive.